Well, good morning. I found this excellent story about an elk. Obviously, elks and moose, very similar. So it reminded me of Pete Dassey. So here we go with a really heartwarming story about not a moose, but an elk, which is from the same family, isn't it? So it counts. An elk that lived for 2 years with a rubber tire around its neck finally freed. Let's move me out of the way. There we go. There we go. An elk. They're huge things, these. A bull elk that wandered the hills of Colorado with a rubber car tire around its neck for over 2 years has finally been freed. According to Colorado Parks and Wildlife officials, this was the fourth attempt to help the 4.5 years old elk, which weighs about 270 kilograms. I mean, moose and elk, they're big animals. Obviously, Pete, when he was younger, playing American football, he was a running back, and he's a big lad, and he was a big lad back then, and he could trample all over the defense. So he was nicknamed the Moose, and of course he's got even got a picture somebody drew of him as the Moose. And of course, lovely Linda and Becca are the Mooseketeers. Anyway, getting back to what we should be, about 270 kilograms. Gee whiz. Officials said that they had to tranquilize the elk and cut off its 5-point antlers to remove the tire because they couldn't cut through the steel in the bead of the tire. Okay. We would have preferred to cut the tire and leave the antlers for his rutting activity, but the situation was dynamic and we had to just get the tire off in any way possible, Officer Scott Murdoch said to agencies. While officials estimated that the tire weighed around 16 kilograms, the elk surprisingly did not suffer any grievous injuries. Quote, the hair was rubbed off a little bit. There was one small open wound, maybe the size of a nickel or quarter, but other than that, it looked really good, said Mr. Murdoch to the Associated Press. And here we have some photos to show the operation to remove the tire. And there we go. Excellent. 5:35 in the morning. Bit of a late night shift, that one, eh? He added, I was actually quite shocked to see how good it looked. Officials were able to locate the elusive elk after residents near Pine Junction, southwest of Denver, reported its location. I am just grateful to be able to work in a community that values our state's wildlife resources, said Dawson Swanson, Mr. Murdoch's fellow officer. I was able to quickly respond to a report from a local resident regarding a recent sighting of this bull elk in their neighborhood. I was able to locate the bull in question along with a herd of about 40 other elk. So they're obviously thriving. Officials said that due to the rutting season, the elk was spotted alongside a bigger bull, which made it easier to locate it. Wow, so even bigger than 270 pounds. The elk was first spotted in 2019 in the Mount Evans Wilderness during a wildlife population survey for Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep and mountain goats. Officials said that while this elk has been freed, wildlife like deer, elk, bears often get entangled in a host of other objects like swing sets, hammocks, clotheslines, and volleyball nets. So presumably they're saying, please don't leave stuff. I mean, it beggars belief, doesn't it? How did the elk get the thing around its neck in the first place? Must have been a bit like Jock being a bit too nosy. Anyway, the good news is that the elk is free and of the tire. Hope you enjoyed that little story. I'm going to save this one, post it, and then do another one straight away. That, again, very, very interesting article that I came across. Here we go.